Hello, everyone, and this is really weird. We are really hoping that this is working. Apologies for the slight interruption in the break. As far as we're aware, we think J. Cole, unsurprisingly, the top lad that he is, after trying to fight on for 20-something hours, has fallen asleep. And it does all look like we are going underway. This is absolutely fantastic that this is actually... I'm actually slightly surprised that this has worked, I'm not going to lie. So
how on earth did it work?
We have no idea. We have no idea. We're winging this. The good news is I'm streaming for the next one, so we can kind of just carry on through the next one now that we know how to do that, and I'll just have to bamble on for myself. But luckily I'm good at that. It is going to be France. There has been a very last minute change here.
Hulkenberg.
We've got the last minute Nico Hulkenberg. Dan, or V8 Field, is driving for the absolute units, and I don't think he realised when he came up with this that they're the featured team. So a person who's probably done zero practice, which to be honest is me when I do all my league racing, I'm not going to lie. Someone who has done zero practice is going to be racing, and we're going to watch him go around the Paul Ricard circuit, first used in Formula 1 in 1971. 5.842 kilometres. It's going to be a 27-lap race, and I think, if I remember rightly, this was the title decider last season. It won't be this time around because there's only 4 points between the top two teams.
Yeah, I know. And, yeah, don't worry, Mike, we have got a replacement in, and I think we're just waiting for the lobby to fully start. And it does take a while when I usually host the lobby, so I don't know why. But, yeah, unfortunately, I think Lamp, who was meant to be the driver for Absolute Units, I think he fell asleep. I don't think any of the Absolute Units are awake at the moment in time. So it was either lap racing or getting disqualified. So the person who was jeffing him for the whole of the 24 hours is stepping in at the last minute. So he's gone. I don't know how many engineers have turned from engineer to driver, but that's what Dan has done. So let's follow him now.
Yeah, let's follow Dan around then in the Alpha Tauri for the Absolute Units, see what he can do around this Paul Ricard circuit. Looks as though he's taking it very easy at the moment because it is very easy to invalidate a lap around this track, with the track limits around here being quite strict indeed. Heading into the chicane now for the first sector, and that is a feature of the circuit. The first sector, very tight and twisty, as Dan now coming through turn 5 onto turn 6, and this second sector is all about straight line speed as you flat out through turn 7, DRS open, heading down the Mistral straight. The chicane now used in the modern configuration of this circuit since it returned to Formula 1 in 2018. Heading through the chicane there, just about managing to avoid cutting the corner, runs a bit wide on the exit, gets you straightened up in time though to keep it valid onto the second part of the Mistral straight, and this is where you do see quite a lot of side-by-side action through turn 10, through Signes, and into the final sector of the lap, where it is all about downforce on these cars, and it is an absolute killer on your front tyres as he's come out now through turn 11 into the long left-hander at turn 12. And then another corner where it's very easy to run wide. You can see him hugging that right-hand side of the track. You don't want to invalidate this late on as he goes through turn 13, through 14. The pit lane entry there on the right-hand side. Late on the brakes for the final corner. Getting the car straightened up as soon as possible. And considering he didn't know he was racing until 2 minutes ago, it's a respectable time there. Very respectable job. And Blizzard, unsurprisingly, he is a bit of a France goat, to be fair. Not too surprising to see him at the top.
I'm not surprised, to be honest, as well. At least he actually did not invalidate his lap this time as well. But I've got to say, despite all things considered, that's not actually a bad lap time from Dan. They're only about half a second and a bit slower than car mentalists, and he didn't invalidate. So, you know, that is good in as far as Absolute Units are concerned. But anyway, we'll go through the order. Blizzard, Cohen, Z3, Matt, Pierre, J Ghost, Geordie, Scorpion, Larkin, Lamfelt, then we've got Kyle, Frankie, Bree, Colin R. Mason, Carmentalist, Dan. Those were the last people to settle laps. But the ones who have invalidated are CC Brain for F2's finest, Cookie Games, Bag of Bones, and Jiao Jiao. And let me actually just go through who is meant to be racing in which team, and I will just go and get this. Probably changed since the screenshot was last done, so just give me a second. I think no, that's the wrong one. I think, oh, that's the right one. there we go. We found the right one. So we got Colin R. Mason racing for Esports Wales, Scorpion Hum racing for One Hub, Lamfell racing for Team Norway Racing, Pierre racing for Anosa Gaming, Cohen racing for Barra Corral, which needs some luck after last race. Side Max have got Mac TU40. Slow but Sexy got Funky 4040. Bottle Job Racing have got Z3. I believe, yeah, he's still in the lobby. F2's Finest have got CC Brain, IRO, Car Mentalist, Mean Team, CRG Blizzard, Queen Viger Racing, Cookie Games, the Humble Squad is Geordie, Zenith Online Racing is Bagabones, Jekko Car is ART Kyle, Nordy E Racing is Jow Jow, XL is XL Bree, Leon is racing is J Ghost. A1 All Stars, it was meant to be J Cole, but it's Larkin instead. And the Absolute Units, it's meant to be Lamp, but it was V8 Field. So there we go. Those are your 20 drivers taking us through France.
Yeah, it's going to be very close indeed. Very interesting now at the top of the championship. If you did miss the Azerbaijan race, it was a bit of a nightmare for Bear Corrals with Jordan retiring and the meme team with BDG Lewis taking that victory. So there's now only 4 points between them, and with the meme team carrying on that form at this moment, you got to say with Blizzard, they're looking pretty handy indeed. They're looking pretty handy to, I believe, take the lead of the championship for the first time.
Yeah, that could be interesting, and it doesn't matter where you are at the start of the championship, it's where you are at the end of the championship, and we're just, oh no. We're getting a glitchy lobby. We're waiting for one. Oh, no, we're all good. We're all good. I thought we were going to get a glitchy lobby for a second, but luckily Kyle saved the day there. Thank goodness. So let's go on board with the Absolute Units car again as we both trying to find the questions that they asked us.
I've got the questions up. And,
oh, God, I've just seen the answers.
Yeah, I'll see what I can say about this. So, where are you hoping to come? No clue. What team are you hoping to beat? No clue. They've gone for the Kimi Raikkonen tactic of question answering here, by the looks of things. Who is your strongest driver? Well, it was Caden, but
he's banned.
It's clearly Dan now. You know, without a doubt. Look at that for the super sub performance. Hulkenberg qualified 20th at the Nürburgring. Dan 16th at France. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Who is the one making up the right numbers? Nobody. Tell us a mad fact about one of your drivers. It is so mad that I can't even think of a way to repeat that in a censored way. And if your team was an animal, what animal would it be? A giraffe. Well, there's definitely Dan's definitely put his neck on the line joining this team at the last minute. I think it's fair to say he'll be hoping for a good performance. If it stays dry, though, we know how good Blizzard is around this circuit. He won in AOR F1 at a bit of a canter, really. You can see the tyres everyone's gone for. Outside the top 10, Colin and CC Brain are on the soft. Everyone else outside the top 10 is on the mediums. Everyone in the top 10 on the softs. And being a compulsory two-stop, this is one of those tracks where that's good news for the drivers, because it is normally a bit of a struggle to make it for a one-stop if you start on the softs.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I like about this two-stop strategy being enforced for this one, because otherwise it probably would have been a pretty boring race, I've got to say. But Blizzard has got his work cut out in first place, but two of the Haas cars are back in familiar territory in P1 and P2. Who's going to shine out those two tonight? We'll have to wait and see. Where's your favourite team? Don't forget you could do exclamation mark followed by your team name to find out who's driving in your team. Most drivers have already done their stints already. There's just a few drivers from each team still yet to do their final stint, so they'll be bringing up the rear for the final few races.
Yeah, most drivers looking as though they've had quite a fun Saturday night, but probably not the ones they would have been expecting, as we are waiting for the lights to come on here then. At France, we've got 5 lights. They go out once again for us, but when will they go out for the drivers? Will it be now? Will it be now? It will be now. And there we go. And Blizzard's got an absolutely fantastic start there. There's a spinner already in the background. I think that's CC Brain heading the wrong way. I don't think Kyle's even got on the way under that point, but it's Blizzard in the lead of this race. The Freaks are trying to go all the way around the outside of him. It's been a nightmare start for Cohen. Jacobs getting a drive-through penalty, so that's the second race in a row then. We've seen someone pick up a drive-through penalty. There's a bit of a gap already for him actually behind Langfell back to Funky, who's had a pretty decent start on those medium tyres, and he's got Colin behind him. at this moment. And a few cars going side by side. Larkin trying to get ahead of Pierre, who is actually quite nicely driving the AlphaTauri for the Inosia team, so that shouldn't be one that we get confused on, as I think Zhao Zhao might have made a slight mistake there. It looks like he's dropped down the order, and Axel says that he might actually end up getting a win here. We'll have to see. We've got some support for Colin as well, as he tries to work his way back past Funky, but a fantastic start from Blizzard. Cohen having a bit of a bad start, but he has recovered now to retake that 4th position.
Yeah, he has as well, and I've got to say, the team that we're focusing on now at the moment, Dan, is not doing too bad for himself. Started 16th, ended up in 11th, and he's chasing down Carl Mentalist, another commentator, for P10.
I mean, if there's a track, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1, oh, it's going to be one of those races. It's going to be one of those races. To be fair to Dan, if there's a track you'd want to do, there's not many very walls you can find at the Paul Ricard circuit. They're usually quite a long way away, so I suppose at least he should get some points for the absolute units, whether it'll be the points that they've wanted. I don't know, maybe they should have stayed awake. I don't know, it's very easy to do to fall asleep, I suppose. We're just hoping that J. Cole wakes up at some point in the next 2 hours. If not, we might need to find his address. We might need to get someone to socially distance, go around there and just throw some rocks at his window to get him awake. Blizzard, though, absolutely flying at the moment, and a bit like Azerbaijan, 7 cars having to pit for damage on lap 1.
Yeah, that is around France, unfortunately, as well, and I think the tyre degradation bits on the track, I think it's probably a different thing to the walls as well. I think a few people taking a little bit more risks, because now it's the final few races. Some drivers, this is their first stint, so it's a bit of a wake-up call there for most drivers. They've already know how this stuff works before, and they're probably getting tired of them being caught up in battles.
I think a few drivers taking a few more risks, like you said, just because they're a bit tired. They're not quite 100% sure what they're doing at the moment. The body's working, the mind's not really communicating as much so, and they're just pretty much driving on instinct, probably, at this moment in time. Langfell doing a pretty decent job. He did in the last race as well, of course, going a lot longer on the tyres than everyone else and managed to gain a few positions. He's currently in 7th place for the Team Norway Racing, but it is Blizzard in the lead, and that is a very important lead, because if the race finished right now, still early stages, that would lead to the meme team taking the lead of the championship over the fellow Haas cars of Cohen, who's going to try it, basically, whichever one of those, unless Cohen finishes, well, even if Cohen finishes in 2nd and Blizzard wins, actually, I think meme team would take the lead of the championship, but it would only be by a point. If the race does finish now, the lead of the championship would all of a sudden be 3 points, I believe, to Blizzard, as Funky now picks up a penalty in the McLaren car, driving for the not driving for the Humble Squad, driving for Slow and Sexy. I do apologise, but Blizzard's got away from the DRS as Bag of Bones now working his way up into 12th place. Well, he's trying to work his way up into 12th place, but Kyle's defending hard through turn 5. Can Bag of Bones get behind? He should have a pretty good run through this part of the circuit. It looks to have lost a bit of time, though. All of a sudden, he's going to have to DRS. CC Brain and XLB battling. These had to pit on lap 1. CC gets up to 15th.
Yeah, indeed, of course. CC Brain was one of the ones who actually spun at the start of the race, as well as Vagabones tries to defend off Kyle heading into turn 7, but turn 9, 8 actually. But looks like Kyle just holds on just for a little bit more. I think since Kyle didn't get off the start, he's doing not too bad for himself.
Yeah, he's done pretty well as well. Another driver who's working his way up through the field as we get the position changes up. He's gone 6 off the start line. It is Car Mentalist. He's now behind the other racing points. He's worked his way past Funky. He's one of the biggest winners, actually, on the first lap, alongside Colin, alongside Bag of Bones, and the GOAT V8 field not doing too bad in 11th position either. Lap 4 out of 27. It might not be too long, seeing as we've got a compulsory 2-stop before we start seeing some of these soft-tyred runners coming to the pits. That final sector really does take an absolute hammering out of the tyres. Just checking the donations at the moment on £2,137 at this moment in time. So we're doing very well indeed. Can we get to that £2,500 goal over the remaining 4 races? France, Hungary, Spain, and then Abu Dhabi, the final race. Cohen just finding himself in a bit of a DRS train here, behind Matt, and then you've got Pierre and Larkin not too far back as well.
Yep, exactly, indeed. So if we can try and get these sorted, maybe, you never know, we could try and get 2,500 by the end of when Luke finishes commentating with Daniel. How about that? Let's try and set that goal. Can we do it? I know there's still people that haven't donated yet that may want to and try and throw a spanner in. So come on, do it. Do it before Luke goes off the airwaves. That'll be great, won't it? Anyway, Cohen has still got a lot of work to do if he wants to try and catch up to Blizzard up ahead as well. I think the main battle, there are many happening between the top 5. Everyone else is starting to have just a little bit of a gap. Meanwhile, Frankie looking good, trying to get past Car Mentalist for 9th. It's looking pretty sunny at the moment, but I wonder if the weather will change. I think it does depend on what tyres people go on for their second stint. Meanwhile, Scorpion gets past XL Bree for P16. It looks like XL is one of those races where it hasn't gone to plan for the XL drivers, which is something that I'm not used to.
Yeah, they've been doing pretty well at the moment in the championship. I believe they are still actually in a net 3rd position. That might change after this race, though. Cohen and Larkin both going for the undercut, but Cohen getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And I think because of all what's gone on with a few incidents on lap 1, it's not like there's really a massive gap you can get yourself out into, because you're going to see here Bag of Bones is ahead of them and Ghost is just going to split in between of Larkin and Cohen. So good news for Cohen that he actually managed to get ahead. So maybe he can now try and build up a bit of time and work his way ahead, on track at least, of Matt and Z Freak. So on board with Pierre driving for Enosia. He's currently in 4th position. There's some big support for Colin. Whoop whoop, Colin in 8th. What words are you going to be using now? Because he's in 6th place and he's starting to put Langfell under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, Langfell doing a great job as well, but Colin actually, you know, I think one of the stronger drivers in the Esports Wales team is Colin, and to be honest, them putting him for the final couple of races is a no-brainer for the Esports Wales team, because they were last in the opening stage of the championship. They're not last anymore, which for Esports Wales standards, I think they'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think they will be pretty happy at the moment. They are, well, he's in 6th position in this race as the leader does come into the pits, and I think we'll see most of the others on those soft tyres start to follow him in, apart from actually Matt. He's deciding to carry on a bit longer. Tried something different in the last race by going onto the hards on his second stint and didn't quite work out. Will this bit of an overcut work out and maybe just give him fresher tyres at the end of the race? So he's now in 1st. Colin is in 2nd. Car Mentalist and Funky battling for 3rd and 4th there on the alternate strategy, as that's a big slide from Aiden there. Car Mentalist having a huge moment, but just about manages to hang onto the car. Then it's V8 field, Kyle, Bag of Bones, Blizzard coming out in 8th position, and Cohen and Z-Freakser battling side by side here. Oh, they're both round.
Oh!
Z-Freakser's round. Cohen just about managed to hold on to the car. That one is going to go to the stewards because there was a bit of a wheel bagging there, and I don't think, not quite sure how to call that one. I sort of came on board halfway through it happening, but Cohen, he's now got himself into a net 2nd place, but he's got that 5-second penalty looming over him. He might well have another penalty looming over him as well.
Yeah, well, I think so as well. There has been some reports from the stewards, but we can't watch that at the moment. We've got Larkin trying to make the move past Jay Goats in 10th place, as Larkin goes, thank you very much. And Larkin wasn't meant to be racing in this race, and he's doing a great job despite that, racing for the A1 All-Stars team, which was a focus team. When I commentated, I think in Russia, I believe, as well, and Larkin doing a great job there as well in 10th place. But it's Matt that leads, but he comes into the pits for, I think I said, medium tyres. Colin, I think, is going on the medium tyres as well. And I think with all the drivers that pit so far going on to a set of mediums, it doesn't look like it's going to rain.
No, it doesn't. Cohen's managed to work his way past Bag of Bones. So Bag of Bones now into 9th place. We'll see where Matt comes out on all this. He is, like you said, going for a set of the medium tyres, just heading out the pit lane. You don't think he'll be too far off the back of all that what is going off with Cohen, Larkin and Langfell as well at this moment in time. You're just going to see them sweeping past. It is quite an awkward pit exit here. As you can see, Larkin has to move out of the way there, and Matt slots in just behind. So he's got slightly fresher tyres. Can he use them to maybe get ahead of the Red Bull driver and get himself back into a net podium slot? Bag of Bones and J Ghost have come in on the same lap as well. And this is where we see the double stacking ability of the Williams team. Not ideal for them, of course, because they are, even though they're driving for the same car, they are, of course, all in their own separate teams. But it is now Car Mentalist in the lead of the race. Looks like he's dropping Funky ever so slightly, then V8 Field, then Kyle, then it is Blizzard, and then we've got this battle going on. Cohen has got quite a bit of a gap ahead of Larkin, who's now found Matt flying his way past him. So that is Matt through the mist rush again, moving up into 7th.
Yeah, quite a few people making positions up indeed as well, but not many people are making moves towards turn 10, which I think is the best possible risk to do. But I won't be surprised if they do, due to people being a little bit tired. I've got to say, not that long to go until the end. We're 20 hours, 50 minutes and 8 seconds into this 24-hour of F1 2020. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves so far. We've got myself doing my final stint, and then we got Daniel Hagard actually joining Luke for the next stint, and then it'll be James and Daniel for the second to last stint, and there'll be James and Hayden for the final stint. So I'm sure these guys will be looking forward to that. But meanwhile, there's still actions to take for you on this track, as Anossi is doing quite not too bad in 9th position, as there's a little bit of a lock up there for Pierre, as he's 3 tenths behind Larkin at the moment. He's probably going to get DRS as he heads towards turn 7, but can he get closer as he heads towards turn 4, which he just about gets it done ever so slightly. Bagabos heads in into the pits at this moment in time. It'll be nice if the race gets quieter to have an update on the standings. Meanwhile, both of these drivers from P3 and 4 have not pitted, but they're still having a battle, and we've got Kyle versus Dan for the battle for P3 on track, and Dan just about holds it there. But look at the way Kyle is pressuring Dan at the moment. Could we see a first move heading into turn 10? This is going to be a risky move for Kyle if he could do it, and if he does, then that'll be a great move indeed, but he doesn't, as V8 Field just closes the door there. But I think this battle we could see for a long time to come yet.
Yeah, I think it could. The problem is for Kyle, he didn't have any ERS there, so he wasn't able to get the move done. And this might, you'd imagine Blizzard's just got the extra grip, and he'll be hoping that these two come into the pits pretty soon. In fact, you can see how much more grip Blizzard's just got as he came through turn 13 and 14 there. He's able to take a much tighter line, and Kyle decides, yeah, you're coming past me anyway, I might as well just make this slightly easy and get rid of the pain early on. So that's Blizzard up into 4th, and he's soon going to be back into 3rd, so dealing with that traffic absolutely expertly as he sets the fastest lap of the race. Blizzard then looking comfortable for now. He's got no penalties as long as he keeps it that way, and as long as it keeps dry, you've got to say he's looking really good. And Matt as well showing some good pace for a second race in a row here for Side Max, closing up to Cohen, who nearly got outside the DRS range, but now Matt has the fastest lap of the race, and with that penalty for Cohen, I've got to say he's looking pretty good for a second position.
Exactly, indeed, as Matt is not that far behind. He can sense it, he can feel it, and it's like constructive in real life. The more points you get, the better you will become, and the more pride you will get, to be honest. And there's some teams that want to beat some teams, and I'm not sure, I can't remember who Cymex want to be, but it looks like they're doing pretty well so far, as obviously those guys have already pitted Cymac. I believe Cohen has already pitted as well. People in front of them have not pitted, and they probably going to come further down the grid at this moment in time. As Kyle's, we've got a yellow flag, and that is from Bag of Bones from Team Zenith Racing in last position. And yeah, they are, I think they're they're last in the standings at the moment as of, I believe, Baku. I think they're going to stay last for a pretty long time, and that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, so they're out of the race. They're getting no points. We'll quickly go over the championship standings as they stood after the end of Baku then. So Berkevel 290, Meme Team 286, XL 264, F2's Finest 243, Sidemax 213, Absolute Units 210, Vigor 207, IRO 201, and Ozia 200. Those are the 9 teams that can still mathematically win the championship. If we've got another yellow flag as well, I'm not quite sure what has gone on there, if there's been a spin anywhere. Cohen seems to have been a bit slow out of that corner, but I think if he'd had a moment, we'd have seen Matt overtake him. So not sure what's going on. I think it's actually just Bag of Bones AI car coming out onto track. So I do apologise for that. Nothing that much exciting happening in that terms of things. Cohen's going to have to start defending pretty vigorously though. He's running low on his ERS. Matt's looking pretty healthy with that. And he's got the DRS down the Mistral straight, and Cohen's not even bothering to defend this. He knows when he's beaten, and that is Matt now up into 5th and a net 2nd position.
Yep, indeed, as they're doing quite well at the moment, as Pierre is actually looking quite good on Cohen, just past turn 9 now and heading in towards turn 10. Cohen's going to try and cover it off to the left. Pierre tries to attack to the right-hand side. Who said you can't overtake in France? Well, Pierre's proven that you can overtake in France like no tomorrow, and he's doing an absolutely great job in the Toro Rosso car. I've got to say, Anota had picked up from pretty much for most of this championship, apart from obviously the disqualification they got from Bahrain for disconnecting. Don't forget, if your team disconnects from the session, they're not allowed to rejoin, and they will get 0 points. For the last few races, most teams have had no problem, so that is good news. I think hardly any disconnections, so fair play to the people keeping the lobbies up on the straight and narrow. As Frankie just gone into the pits, as well as the Racing Point, that's car mentalist, onto a set of medium tyres. There's a few people yet to do their one stop, and the only one is the one that wasn't meant to be racing, but it is racing now, Dan, and his de facto teammate just got past him.
Yeah, so the AlphaTauri of Pierre moving himself up into 3rd position at the moment, doing a very good job indeed, and Cohen now just trying to get past Dan, obviously, as quickly as possible. This should be fairly straightforward, even before we get to the DRS zone. You can see there he's gone round the outside, and Larkin's not going to be close enough, I don't think, to have a go at Cohen. He might not even be close enough to have a go at V8 field as it stands. Car Mentalist and Funky are both coming to the pits. They've come out in 10th and 11th, and Car Mentalist not too far behind Z Freakser, who, let's not forget, was in that lead battle. So he might be a bit disappointed now to find himself in 9th place after what's happened, and Larkin does indeed get ahead of V8 field. Out in front though, just having a nice relaxing drive around the Circuit Paul Ricard. It is Blizzard 7.2 seconds ahead after only 11 laps.
That is just crazy, I've got to say. Blizzard is showing he's the king of France, I've got to say, but he's done a lot of France races, league races, and he's done quite well in them. Most notably, the ones he's done well at the league races is PSGR. I think he's won quite a few AOR races in France as well. So this track, I've got to say, we are starting to get more penalties, which is not good if you're rooting for like Scorpion, who has just got another 3-second time penalty. I think he's on 6. Geordie, I believe, is on 3. Yes, he is. Cookie Games is on 3. As Dan gets into the pits now, and he's going on to, let me just check the tyres. He's on to the medium compounder tyres. So Cookie Games on 3 seconds. Frankie's on 6. Lansdale's on 6, and Cohen is on 5 seconds.
So those are the penalties at the moment. Of course, Cohen will at least be able to serve his at his next stop, and it is a compulsory 2-stop race. Don't think we're going to get any rain. It looks as though there are a few more clouds, but nothing too threatening at this moment in time, as Cohen, after being overtaken by Matt and Pierre, seems to have picked up the pace ever so slightly and seems to be able to hang with them at the moment. Matt doing very well on saving his ERS, and that is proving to be a big hand at the moment as Car Mentalist gets past Z Freaks, so he is now up into 8th as he tries to chase down Colin Mason. He's going to be, I'd say the top 6 is definitely possible for Car Mentalist here on that alternate strategy, because of course he'll be on the soft tyres at the end.
He's probably going to be bragging that he's got P6 in this race when he goes back in the commentary box for the last stint. I've got to say, he's going to be like, yay, I've got P6, stuff like that. So, I actually can't wait for him to get back in the box later on as well. And, yeah, that'll be great to see. But he's having a nice battle for Esports Wales as well, both in the Racing Point. But he's got Z3 for company as well. It's going to be hard to try and keep him behind, and that is crucial. I know maybe not crucial at the moment due to the gap, but our race leader has just picked himself a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, if Blizzard does have one weakness around this circuit, it's that he can pick up the odd penalty, but when you're 9 seconds ahead anyway, it's not really going to make too much of a difference at this moment in time, as again, Aiden Car Mentalist just gets a bit wild coming through turn 1 and 2 through that chicane, gets away with it for now, but you don't want to be doing that too often, because not only will you lose a lot of time and maybe send yourself flying off the circuit, you can also quite easily pick up some penalties. Further down the field, battling for 14th and 15th at the moment, it is Scorpion for Team One Hub, and it is Geordie for the Humble squad, but Anosia Pierre has got himself past Matt. He's managed to get the move done in the chicane. I'm not sure if Matt's had a slight problem all of a sudden, as there comes a 3-second time penalty for Car Mentalist. So that is now Pierre up into 2nd, and we'll get to see if he's got the pace to maybe just break away from these drivers.
Yeah, I think that could be interesting for Blizz to see if he can do that, but don't forget that these guys, most of these guys are insanely quick as well, but there's some people with different abilities as well, so it could be hard for some of these drivers to catch up to the leaders. For most of these people, they probably wouldn't catch up to any of the Haas teams, or maybe the likes of the XL team as well, who are not doing quite so well on the hards. Obviously, XL Brie will probably stretch those hards until quite some distance in this race, so it only could be on the same strategy as everybody else. I do believe everyone's done their first stop. Yes, they have, and surprisingly, apart from the person who has retired, no one has done more than one stop, so it means they're keeping on the straight and narrow at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Some good battles happening in this race, and we are going to see some different strategies towards the end. Who will be going on to another set of soft tyres? Who will be going on to another set of the mediums? Back towards the battle for second, third, fourth and fifth at this moment in time. Matt, not close enough to Pierre to really be putting in the pressure, and likewise with Cohen and Larkin, they're not really close enough at this stage in the race to really start threatening the cars behind. Funky seems to have dropped back ever so slightly. Let's not forget he was right on the back of Car Mentalist in the early stages. He's now sort of driving around on his own in 10th place, but again, he'll be on the softs for the final stint. Might just be looking very handy indeed for this final stint. It is getting very close though for 6th, 7th, 8th and possibly 9th place. In fact, Car Mentalist thinks about a move there into turn 10. I don't think that was ever going to work, and I think it's a good job he backed out of it. Did get himself a penalty though. That one though, he might have a chance. He has got so much pace at this moment in time. He's absolutely flying on those fresher mediums.
Yeah, he is. He's doing very well indeed to try and catch up to them at the moment. And let's see what Colin Mater could do to try and defend that. I kind of wish they were teammates at the end of the day, but otherwise we would only have 10 teams. And obviously we want to try and get as many teams as possible into this 24-hour event. As we can see, Car Mentalist now up in 8th place. I don't think he's going to get the move yet, but he's still got Lamfelber company as well. This could get very spicy towards the end. There's Geordie. That's gone from bad to worse for him. He's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's going to be good news if he got less penalties than them, I've got to say. As we've got 3 people, CC Brain, Geordie and Scorpion, all into the pits. Those 3 have not had pretty good races, I've got to say, but it's still pretty much halfway distance to go. It's still all to play for. Car Mentalist now gets the run on his de facto teammate, and I think he's going to just hold on to this one, and he's going to get P7 on track. He's not that far behind Lamvel as well, so he can line up for a move pretty soon. Just look at this traction that he's carrying in at that racing point. He's doing really well.
Yeah, I said he might get to P6 in the final stint. He's nearly there now, actually, in this second stint. Who knows how far up the order could he get on track? Penalties will cost him. He does now have 6 seconds of penalties. As you can quickly see, the penalty situation at this moment in time is again, he's just got that extra grip, and he can just finger out moves into some of these corners because he can just hold the tighter line on those medium tyres, going for the alternate strategy. As we do get then Pierre and Cohen and Larkin coming in, the first of the leaders coming in for their second stops and coming in at the end of lap 16. This will be another set of the medium tyres for all 3 of them, and Langfell is in as well, so that does promote Car Mentalist up into 3rd position now. After all the pit stops, we'll see how much longer he can go on those mediums. You'd expect at least another 5, maybe 6 laps before a short stint on the softs at the end, because you still do have to do 2 different types of tyres. We've also had Cookie Games and XL Brie come in. I think both of those drivers will also be heading onto the medium tyres. We'll just see if we've got any further battles down the field, or where all these cars that are pitted are coming out. Cohen just behind the 8th field at this moment in time. Shouldn't be too difficult though. We've already seen from Car Mentalist the advantage of those fresher tyres, and there we go. It took all of 1 corner for the Haas car to get back up into 11th, as now Z Freakser works his way past Colin using the DRS. Colin must have just made a mistake slightly to drop out of that DRS, and that's the Red Bull back into 4th.
Yep, Z3 doing well indeed as well. I don't know how these guys are actually keeping it on the track, despite the fact most of these guys have been tired due to them supporting their teams for most of the night at this stage. But the ones that are still yet to pit, I hope they haven't forgotten, because if they do forget, they will be disqualified. And so far, no one has been disqualified due to them not doing the 2-stop. I won't be surprised if it could happen towards the end, where people just forget their mentality, probably due to the fact that they're tired. I'm going to predict at least once in this end of the 24 hours, at least one team will probably forget.
Yeah, I think that's very possible as well. Langfell, he's now worked his way past Dan, so he's up into 12th position, trying to get back onto the back of Cohen as soon as possible, of course. Cohen did serve that 5-second penalty in the pit, so you can see how much it's cost him, because he was in that group with Larkin and Anossia Pierre. He's now back with Langfell, so maybe there's a chance for Car Mentalist to even get him at the end of the race, out on track, as there we go, Cohen now up into 10th place, and he's going to jump even further up the order, as we've seen Freakser, Colin, Jiao Jiao, all come into the pits. Blizzard has come in as well. He's done his final compulsory pit stop, and he's come out in second place, just 1.2 seconds off the back of Car Mentalist. As you can see there, those are the drivers still yet to pit. We've got the Racing Point in the lead, then Frunky, Kyle, Ghost, and V8 Field, the only drivers still yet to make their second stops.
Yep, that is important, of course, but yeah, it's not going to be that long. Meanwhile, Pierre just gets the move past Kyle there, up into 4th position, heading into turn 8. A nice battle from those two for most of this race as well. We've got Matt not that far behind too, and I've just noticed something. It's starting to get very dark all of a sudden around the Paul Ricard circuit. Well, it is starting to get overcast. Could we see a threat of rain, maybe? There hasn't been any hints from it in the chat, so it could just stay like this for pretty much the whole race now, but it is getting very threatening at the moment.
I think, and I've been wrong before, and I'm probably going to be wrong again, I think if it was going to rain, we'd have seen more drivers maybe put a set of the soft tyres on at their last pit
Very
stop.
true, yeah.
I can't imagine it raining. I mean, if it does, and one person who wouldn't mind it starting to spit with rain right now would be Car Mentalist. As Dakar Dan Hoggard will be commentating with me in a bit has done. Where is Aiden, and what has this imposter done for him? I think what Aiden's done is just fallen asleep and got someone else to race for him, and it seems to be working pretty well at the moment, to be honest. He's 1.6 seconds ahead. We're still going to battle, though, for the net second position. Pierre did look as though he'd got away from Matt ever so slightly in that pit stop period, but Matt is now right on the back of the AlphaTauri, and with that slightly fresher tyres, that could of course make all the difference at the end of the race because of how strict this track is on tyre wear, and it's getting extremely overcast at this moment in time. And oh, this is some big news. Blizzard has got some huge wing damage.
Oh,
how on earth's he got that?
I don't have a clue there. That is his right front wing. His left is fine, it's just his right is almost gone. Wow. Okay.
Well, this has changed everything. I mean, do you try and hang on with this damage? Because the lead he had was pretty high, but it's already gone down to 7.7 seconds ahead of Funky. Apparently, I think it might have been with a few other cars when he was coming out of the pits. And yeah, he's got no choice. He's got to come into the pits. He's going to put a set of soft tyres on. He's going to be lightning fast towards the end. But this championship battle takes another turn with Blizzard, the net championship leader, with Mean Team, as things stood, having to come into the pits and do another stop. He's going to come out roundabout where Freakser, Colin Mason are, maybe even further down the field, of course, because of the front wing change. He could be behind CC Brain here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I were the other Haas team, you might be loving like Cohen is back in this fight.
Yeah, and all of a sudden things are switching around. Like we said, Cohen all of a sudden back in the net championship lead for Bear Cavals with 3 races remaining, and Blizzard comes out in 15th position if the race finished right now, with Cohen getting 14 points and Blizzard getting 6 points. That would extend the lead for Bear Cavals to 12 points with 3 races remaining, but obviously still all to play for. Still, though, Car Mentalist in the lead of this race, 7 seconds ahead, as Matt has used the DRS to get past Pierre. He's up into 3rd place, and of course they've got their own battle going on at this moment in time for 5th in the championship, which is an extremely close battle. You've got Sidemax on 213, Units 210, Clean Vigor 207, IRO 201, and Anossia on 200. So that battle's looking pretty close. Just seeing where XLV's down in 18th, so this might be the race with them and CC Brain struggling for F2's finest. That pretty much means we are going to have a 2-horse race for the title of the 24 Hours champion, as Colin for Esports Wales has worked his way up into 11th.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, the 2 Haas cars were the favourites of this 24 hour for pretty much a long time. Once those teams were announced, I almost certainly thought those two were going to walk away with it, and they have, as Car Mentalist goes into the pits now on those soft tyres. No damage for him, which is good news if you were Aiden fans. I've got to say, I'm glad he's doing well. He's a fellow commentator. I've commentated with him after you yesterday, and you commentated with him as well. So it's nice to see our fellow commentator just ahead of Esports Wales and doing a great job. He's repping the commentators. Come on, Aiden.
Yeah, we're trying to prove here that some of us commentators are actually not too bad at driving. I mean, Dan doing a pretty good performance as well. Ghost is coming to the pits now for a set of soft tyres. We've got 8 laps remaining here. Funky in the lead of this race still has to pit, as does the 8th field, as does Kyle. So it's Matt in the net lead all of a sudden, with Pierre in net second place, Larkin in a net third, and you've got Cohen, Lang and Z-Freakser, Car Mentalist on the soft tyres, so he's one to watch out for. This should be a fairly straightforward move from Matt. He's got so much more grip at this point in the race, gets ahead of Funky, takes the lead.
Yeah, indeed, one lap, 20 out of 27, anything can happen. Of course, we've still got 3 more races to go after this one, and we've got, it looks like Scorpion and Geordie having a battle towards turn 8. There's Geordie went a little bit off the circuit, a little bit much. They've been having a little bit of a ding-dong battle since the start of this race, to be honest. Not gone quite so well for both of them, but they're still fighting. Oh my goodness! What is Geordie? I don't even know what any of them are doing right now. I don't know whose fault was it that, but that looks definitely a bit odd right now.
Yeah, I think Scorpion wasn't expecting Geordie to go for it round the outside. He did, and they almost became locked together. We've got a few questions about what happened to Blizzard. Big front wing damage, we think, with a collision with some other car. So he's setting the fastest lap of the race. He's flying up the order. He's in 9th position. I imagine 5th is going to be the best he can get, and that is not what he would have hoped for, of course. And with that 3-second penalty, which we said, oh, it doesn't really matter, he's so far ahead, all of a sudden, that might become fairly important.
I'm so excited for this, Luke. I'm so excited. I mean, Blizzard is in danger, and we could have a good championship fight on our hands so you could win this. This could not get decided until the final race. This could be getting very exciting. Meanwhile, Z3 gets past Lamval for P5. If that rain does come, I don't think it's going to threaten too much for them to go on the intermediate tyres. Blizzard, though, gets past the Esports Wales car of Colin R. Mason and goes up into P8. Don't forget, you can go, if you want to donate, do exclamation mark donate, as it's all going to an amazing cause, young people's mental health, which is a really good charity, especially during these tough times of COVID-19. We had a few stories yesterday. We may hear a few more later on as well, as we're seeing a nice battle between Bree and Scorpion there. Bree, I think, gets the job done, and Bree is up into P15 now, chasing down Geordie as well. This will get very spicy towards the end. I think Bree's going to be ahead of Geordie anyway due to penalty, so he just got to keep behind Geordie at the moment. Yeah, I think all that started again with maybe round 2 of Geordie versus Scorpion. They both looked as though they were off track, and Ghost, oh, Geordie's way off track now. Just about manages to keep it out the wall. Oh, what? And he's hit, and he's hit Ghost.
Oh, Geordie, what? I was about to say, Ghost is doing such a good job at the moment. He might be able to gain some time, and there we go. I'm not sure if they look like there might have been a tiny bit of desync in that as well, but the end result is Ghost is off the circuit. Car Mentalist, as we expected, using those softs well. He's now up into 6th. Can he catch up to Z-Freakser? And then can he get in 6 seconds ahead of Z-Freakser? Might be a bit of a struggle, but we might see some moves, as we are seeing a move for the race lead. That is Anossia back into the lead with Pierre. Matt down into 2nd place. Can he fight back, though, through turns 11 here? Cookie Games getting ahead of Colin Macy at this moment in time. I think, yeah, a few people are agreeing in the chat as well, just desync kicking off there. I'm not sure if Geordie and Ghost, I think what would have been a very light tap, all of a sudden turned into a major collision, as CC Brain now gets ahead of Colin as well. So still not looking too bad for Colin. He's in 11th place, and with Funky being 7 seconds behind, I imagine he'd hold on to that position. And Blizzard trying to fly his way up the order as well. He's not too far behind Langfell. He's not too far behind Car Mentalist either.
I know, Dash is absolutely insane for Blizzard. How on earth he's coming back like that, I don't know. Meanwhile, Blizzard, he's just doing all he can to get past Lamval, isn't he? Cookie Games is also on another penalty. Interesting enough, Colin Mason is not. This could be good for Esports Wales, getting one of their best results of this 24-hour as well, as Blizzard goes up to P7. Meanwhile, we've still got the battle between Ghost and Geordie, as Geordie is in the pits.
Yeah, Geordie coming into the pits. Won't be surprised maybe if he picks up a bit of damage with all that what was going off, or if he's just completely ruined his tyres, because he's had a few sideways moments. So Pierre in first position, but not for much longer. Matt is going to take the lead on the inside, and if these keep swapping every lap, it might be looking pretty good for Matt in the Alfa Romeo. 4 laps to go for the Side Max driver. He now retakes the lead of this race. Is there going to be any battles further down? Cookie Games in the slipstream of CC Brain. Has he got enough ERS to make good use of the DRS? And no, he hasn't on this occasion. Has to stay behind in 10th position at the moment. As that is crucial. Pierre's got a 3-second time penalty, and if Matt can keep it clean, that could just change everything, as I'm not sure for a second. I think my eyes might have been deceiving me, but I thought I saw the spot of rain, but I think my TV might
I thought I did, but nah, it's just, yeah, it's probably my TV going crazy as well. I don't know.
I've had it about 8 or 9 years. Maybe I could do with a new one at some point. Could do with putting my
Me too. My TV's roughly about then as well. Literally, it's not HDR TV. It's just an HD TV which can handle 1080p. That's pretty much it. It's not anything fancy. It does the job really.
Yeah, talking of doing the job, Blizzard's about to do the job on commentating. Get himself up into 6th position. It's been a fantastic comeback. It's just a shame for that damage for him, and that could end up being crucial with how close the championship is at the moment. So he's now up into 6th. You'd expect him to be able to get ahead of Z Freakser, and with the penalties as well, he could still hang on. Well, you would expect him to actually still hang on to that 5th place. So very good damage limitation. Might end up losing only 1 point to Bear Corrals, although Cohen's pretty close to Pierre when you take into account the penalties, and that is why Pierre is trying to make some moves here. He's back up into the lead of this race.
Very, very good from him. Who would have thought Anosio in the lead of the race? They might have been when I was asleep, but I can't remember if Anosio has won a race in this 24-hour. Let us know in chat, guys. Have they won a race? That'll be good to see a new winner.
Well, they've been pretty consistent. They're in 9th, I think they're in 8th or 9th in the championship at the moment, but with how close it is, the top 5 is still possible. Scorpion gets himself ahead of XLB, but gets himself a penalty while doing so. Geordie, I think, is back into the pits. He's just having a bit of fun at this moment in time. And James, one of the commentators for the final couple of races, making a good point here that if these top 2 keep battling, if Mattis and Pierre keep battling, it might allow Larkin to catch up, and maybe even Cohen can get onto the back. We'll have to see into the final 3 laps of the race. There you go, you see, it's Pierre, Matt, Larkin, Cohen, Blizzard. Now looking pretty safe in that 5th place. Carmentalist, I think the best of those soft tyres has gone, so he might find it a bit hard to stick behind Z Freak, so of course we'll be trying to get ahead of Blizzard as well. Then Langfell, Cookie Games and CC Brain, your top 10 drivers at this moment in time. Are we going to see another DRS pass as Blizzard picks up another penalty?
Oh, how many penalties is he on now? 6 seconds.
6 seconds.
Wow.
So that drops him behind Z Freakser. Only loses in 1 place as things stand. As you can see, he's having to go defensive though, because Z Freakser's going to have the DRS. I think those softs are just starting to struggle, and Matt are not able to get ahead of Pierre this time around, but he knows Pierre's got a penalty, so he knows he doesn't have to go for this move.
Exactly. I mean, Matt just has to stay behind, really, and get past, but he knows that Larkin is catching, so he's got to keep up the pace, no matter what, really. So as long as he stays and puts consistent laps in, he should be fine, and he should win the race for Side Max. So we're doing an incredible job so far in this race so far. As we've got Cookie Games on the back of Lamval. I wonder if they'll both be fighting for this. Yes, they will, because they're both on the same amount of penalties. This should get interesting between the two. They want the most amount of points between Lamval and Cookie Games. Cookie Games doing well in the last few races. Wants to make amends for this one as well in 9th place. You can't be good at every single track. Cookie, I believe, won one of them, but he hasn't won this one, unfortunately. But any point is a point at the end of the day, and I think the only team not to get a point in this race is Team Zenith. Everybody else is to score at least 1 point in this at the moment. As we can see, Lamfell going side by side with Cookie Games there, and Cookie Games getting the move. I swear I could see rain, but it's just not appearing. That is definitely my TV.
Well, I think if it started raining now, it'd make absolutely no difference whatsoever. Cohen's managed to catch up to Larkin in DRS, but he's picked up a penalty. So again, it's not going to change too much in the grand scheme of things. Larkin just has to try and stick within 3 seconds of the back of Pierre at the moment, because he could get himself a second position as well, which would be a very decent performance indeed. Matt, though, still staying behind Pierre, still happy with the knowledge that if it stays as it is, Side Max will be taking a victory, and in that battle for 5th position, that could be crucial. And with a few other teams having bad races, you never know, we might get some, might even be able to sneak their way up onto the rostrum at the end and maybe get themselves a top 3. We'll just have to wait and see how things are going, because XL not having the greatest of races, QBR doing okay in 8th, and F2's finest not too bad in 10th, although seeing as CC Brain hasn't got any penalties, he could boost himself a long way up the order. He could even challenge Car Mentalist here for 7th position.
Yeah, and that could be interesting indeed. They're all on the same amount of penalties, and the threat of rain is gone. It is nice and bright again.
Yeah, nice and bright as we start the final lap of the race. It is Pierre in the lead from Matt, but Pierre has a penalty, so that's going to drop him behind the Side Max driver and Larkin as well, who's currently trying to fight off the attention of Cohen. Blizzard would have won this race, but some incident that we didn't quite see off camera gave him some big wing damage, and that is why he's fought back to 5th position. But again, penalties might just drop him down a place at this moment in time as Langfeld picks up another penalty there. Is Matt going to be close enough to go for the lead on Pierre? It looks like he might just about manage to do it on the Mistral straight down the inside. Goes the Alfa Romeo driver. He takes the lead of this race, and surely, as long as he can keep it clean through the final sector of the lap, it's going to be a win for Side Max Racing. Cohen on the back of Larkin. Even though this won't change anything, he wants to get onto that position out on track as CC Brain has got ahead of Langfeld as well. Can Cohen go all the way around the outside? Can he do the switchback for the inside? Just not quite able to do so at this moment in time, running a bit low on ERS, as you are seeing a few more penalties pop up on our screen at the end of this race. It's been an absolutely cracking French Grand Prix here as Cohen just gets a bit sideways towards the end. We thought it was a straightforward win for Blizzard and this would be a battle for second, but there was some misfortune for the Haas driver. Matt was there to take advantage for Side Max Racing, and he takes the win at the French Grand Prix. A fantastic performance from him. You can tell I celebrated at the old finish line. Larkin gets a second place, and Nozia in third, Cohen in fourth. Z-Freakser will get 5th position, Blizzard 6th, Carmentalist is currently 7th. We'll see him drop behind CC Braid, who takes 7th, so Carmentalist 8th, Cookie Games is 9th, and Langfeld rounding out the top 10. Yes, he got a bit fortunate with the damage from Blizzard, but it was still a fantastic performance from Matt, and he takes the victory.
I've got to say, CC Brain and Kyle managing to get P7 and P8. I'm pretty impressed between those two for managing to come back after a horrible start, I've got to say. And I've got to say, V8 Field, also known as Dan, our focus team for today even, they're not last. They're not last.
They're not last. He's got no wheel on as he's coming across the line, so I'm hoping they're not planning to use that car at the Hungarian Grand Prix, because they're going to have a bit of work to do. But he's done a fantastic job, and yeah, just a great performance coming in, of course, at the last. He's our driver of the day. We're not biased, but he's our driver of the day.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT. Matt with the victory. Fantastic performance from them. With Cohen finishing 4th and Blizzard finishing in 6th, that means the gap at the top of the championship has just stretched out ever so slightly to 6 points. It was looking very certain that this is going to go down to the final race as Jordy now crosses the line.
Yeah, but it is going to come down to the final race as well. And some other positions could be decided in the final race as well. It's not just about the first, it's the battle for podium positions as well, the midfield, and your drive of the day somehow goes to Blizzard, even though he started on pole and went down into 6th or something. So I think the game's actually done something right for once. He's done a comeback and he got drive of the day. My.
Yeah, an absolutely great performance there from Blizzard. Just a shame about that damage. I think it was actually Bag of Bones he actually was involved in contact with, and then Bag of Bones went into the pits, and for whatever reason they wouldn't change his tyres. So bad news for him, obviously, but obviously in terms of the championship, costing Blizzard a lot more. But it was a victory for Side Max, and it was a victory for Matt there, taking the win. A good performance from Larkin then to take 2nd place on penalties in the end, though. But the Red Bull driver doing a fantastic job there, Larkin for the All-Stars. Anosia getting third with Pierre, and then it is Cohen, Zifrixa, Blizzard, CC Brain, Kyle, Carmentalist, Colin, Cookie, Langfell, Ghost, XL3, Jow Jowl, Funky, Scorpion, Dan, Geordie, and Bag of Bones, as we've already said, the only retirement from that race. Hungary's got something to live up to after that.
Yeah, and I think there has been a few desync issues, so thank goodness we're going to get a new lobby host at the end of this, because otherwise it probably would have been chaos in the next one. So yeah, don't worry, there will be a new lobby after this one.
Yeah, there will be a new lobby, so hopefully that'll sort the desync issues, and hopefully that means when qualifying finishes, it actually comes up with the standings rather than me trying to guess who's on pole position. It was a pretty good guess around here, because we know how good Blizzard is, who did get the driver of the day. There was so much action. I mean, at certain points of this race, I mean, Colin and Carmentalist finished 9th and 10th, but at one point we thought they could both maybe finish a tiny bit higher. Just that much went on towards the end.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's been good around France as well. A few people I know have had horrible races and need to have a comeback. Some are definitely on a high at the moment. I've got to say, XL they were in a comfortable position for third. They may not be now after that race. We'll have to wait and see, though.
Yeah, I would do the maths, but I think we've proven before that sometimes when I try... Well, actually, they were 21 points ahead, so they'll still be in third, but it definitely will not be as comfortable as it once was a few races ago. But a great performance there from Side Max, taking the victory, and maybe, just maybe, trying to push themselves back into the battle for fourth in the championship and looking a bit better than they were for fifth all of a sudden. So a great job from them. Yes, Dan, you won't see this, but he's in the commentators chat saying, did you see my incredible performance? I think we need to stop praising him. I think it's going to his head a bit.
yeah, it is. I think he's thinking that he's the GOAT all the time. Yes, you stepped in, you did well, bravo.
Well done, Dan. Now be quiet. Yeah, congratulations for him, and you'll be heading off soon, and I believe it's going to be Dan Hoggard joining me.
Yeah, I will be heading off, and that is my last commentary stint. Actually, it's my last stint overall. I've done all my races, and I've done all my commentary, so I can just sit back, relax, have a nice, put my feet up, and enjoy the final 3 races. We've got a battle in our team to see who can not be last with Zenith as well. So we're going to try and hopefully not be the last team. But yeah, we still got some good drivers left, and I'm sure Daniel, James, and Aiden are going to be superb in the box, as well as you doing your final stint as well. It's been a pleasure, everybody, joining you for the commentary once again. It's been amazing, and I can't wait for the next one. Make sure you keep donating. We are on, let me just check, £2,139.92. As James has put in the chat, ! Donate to donate all the money in the chat. So there we go. I'm just going to give Dan an invite to the party now, so you don't have to leave. There we go. He's given an invite. So Dan, you could join when you're ready.
Yeah, and well, hopefully there won't be too much blue screen. We'll just go to that obviously when the lobby changes, because it is going to be a new lobby for maybe the final 3 races, at least for the next 2, because I believe Dan is still going to be commentating. It's me and Dan for Hungary, then it is James and Dan for Spain, and for what could well be a title decider around the streets of the Yas Marina circuit, which I've just realised isn't a street circuit, but feels like one with a lack of overtakes, for Abu Dhabi with James and Aiden taking it through that. And Daniel Hoggard has joined us. Firstly, how are you doing? Hopefully you're nice and well rested now.